And I am live. Hello. So, you might notice a small difference with the overlay. Well, that's because, long story short, I decided it was finally time to overhaul my overlay so that it would use the same font as my logo. What prompted this change? I may have mentioned this, but I'm making video essays now, and I decided to also record a lore video while I'm at it. And since the lore video required me to make a thumbnail, which made me use text, and if got a picture of like prison chat. One positive is that I finally have a chance to get rid of all these capture windows I create because, well, and there we go. Perfect alignment for Factorio. Okay, so I might as well discuss some of my upcoming plans. Friday will be a final be the end of an era for me. But it's in a positive way, since, well, if you don't know, that's the last day, that's the day before I turn 29. My birthday is on February 10th. So there's a few things. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do to celebrate it. I could just take the day off. I might live stream a public domain movie. And I also might do, but I'm still not sure what I want to do, but if I was going to do something, I'd probably like to make it an announced thing. Like, I'm still on the fence, but anyways. I do apologize. I would say I would apologize for being late, but this time it was actually beyond my control as well. Internet issues. So anyways, I've decided that today we are going to check in with the latest Billy Mitchell drop. Specifically, the one about his lawsuit and his expert witness. Now, I'm doing this because I actually have a tiny bit of a personal history with Billy Mitchell. Not in the way you think, like, I never met him personally, but rather, it's the movie about his controversy. Specifically, you may have heard of... Let me check it up. The King of Kong. Yeah, like I actually kept on meaning to like watch this documentary, but well, I never got around to, and funnily enough, of what it disputed, it actually kind of unintentionally dated this movie, since, well, if you don't know, there's the term, oh, it was about how the film, it's about how there were allegations that it was about how there was an attempt to beat like Billy Mitchell's high score, which, aside from the fact that it was proven to be fake, there's also the fact that, well, other players have beaten Billy Mitchell's score. I actually have played a Donkey Kong on the original arcade machine. It's actually a pretty fun game if you want to track it down. Like, if I end up being at least successful, like, let's say I get to like 5-6 figures on Twitch in terms of followers, I will probably buy myself one. Oh, hey! Deep Wheat Steve Eve, the other guy who's mentioned in the documentary, actually lives in my state. Not doxing him, since that's actually where he is listed as living. So you know what? I just threw him a follow. He's not active on Twitter or that much, but hey, who knows? Maybe we'll see Carl Jobst up to give him an interview. Anyways, I don't think I need to explain who Carl Jobst is. He's this guy who's really into speedruns. Like, you also might know him if you were following the completionist drama, which, to be honest, I wasn't too torn up, since I always preferred Peanut Butter Gamer. And to an extent, Pro Jared. I will admit that I did jump to a conclusion during the whole scandal where Pro Jared was accused of a lot of nasty things, but I did apologize for doubting him on the platform that I was active on the most, Facebook, although I don't really think anyone was really, like, impacted by my opinion. So anyways, let's get the video playing. I'm gonna watch his video on how Billy Mitchell lost the lawsuit first. Then I will watch the one on his expert witness. I'm gonna watch the first one in full, but the second one I'll leave unfinished, since I've decided that's my policy going on from now on. I don't want to be a content theft, but I also don't want it to, like, seem like I'm missing anything from this particular one.
Legends. In April of 2018, Billy Mitchell, self-proclaimed video game player of the century, was banned from Twin Galaxies after it was discovered that he had cheated multiple Donkey Kong World records. Twin Galaxies would post their decision in a public statement, saying that the tapes of Billy's world record showed gameplay that could not come from an original, unmodified arcade cabinet. This meant that Billy was lying about how he achieved his scores.
That does make me wonder about how, like, tool-assisted speedruns are counted. Like, I don't think that that's really directly comparable, since, like, for one thing, it was score-based, which is performance, as opposed to, well, speed-based. But still, I actually want to learn about speedrunning now. Like, you're not going to see me actually start speedrunning, like, unless it's something I'm really good at. Like, hypothetically speaking, I would not be opposed to, like, trying to speedrun Metroid Dread. But still, like, I'm at least going to be paying more attention to the scene. Now I'm just remembering that idiot who decided that who apparently tried to say, like, speedrunning makes you a beta or something.
scores. A year later, Billy sued Twin Galaxies for defamation, and for the past 5 years, this insane legal battle over video game high scores has dragged on. Well, on the 11th of January 2024, it all came to an end. Yep, it's over. While everyone on the internet was getting prepared with their popcorn to witness the circus of Billy Mitchell in court, the two parties were doing...
Wait, is that an actual scene from a regular show? Because it would be wild if that was true. Like, I did not actually watch regular show, but like, I would not be opposed to like watching it to like confirm how many other pop culture references are in there. I mean, hell, Binging with Babish got some pretty good episodes out of that. Now I'm just imagining the double glazed apple fritters, but like with a different flavor of glaze. It's actually sounding pretty good. Just gonna go get some more red ammo, then I'll resume playing it. Oh yeah, I've got more than enough.
Everything they could to avoid trial. The simple truth is that everyone knew Billy had zero chance of winning. It's a proven fact he cheated, and there are mountains and mountains of evidence confirming that. But trial is insanely expensive, and while it would be nice for Billy to be destroyed by a jury, and it'd make for some amazing content, no one involved wanted to go through it. Billy knew he was going to lose. Billy's lawyers knew he was going to lose, and they were desperate to settle and avoid the humiliation of defeat. So they worked out a deal with Twin Galaxies, and the parties settled. Today, we are going to look at what that settlement means, because I'm sure you're all asking, if they settled, does that mean Billy won? Did Twin Galaxies recant their statements? Did they admit they were wrong? Are Billy's scores being reinstated? Is Billy unbanned? Did Billy even really cheat? Yes, you fool. Of course he cheated. But as far as the other questions are concerned, in this video I will break it down. And there is a part of this settlement that is absolutely hilarious, because Billy Mitchell managed to find a university professor willing to put his entire career on the line to defend Billy. And his explanation as to why Billy's tapes look the way they do is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in my life. I really hope you enjoy. Guys, a new year is upon us, and that means I'm asking the same question I ask every single year. Is 2024 finally the year that I get a six-pack? And by golly, yes, it is. Mark my words, Carl Jobs will finally achieve his dreams and get ripped. And to help me with this is today's video sponsor, Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon's...
Skipping this because, well, I might as well cut out at least some of the video out, but...
$5 off your order today. Billy Mitchell and Twin Galaxies officially settled on the 11th of January, but it wasn't until earlier today that Twin Galaxies released an official statement. Here is what it said. On April 12, 2018, Twin Galaxies removed all of Mr. Mitchell's scores and banned Mr. Mitchell from competing on Twin Galaxies' competitive leaderboards. This was centered upon a technical basis of what Twin Galaxies believed to be a demonstrated impossibility of original unmodified Donkey Kong hardware to produce images shown in the videotaped recordings of some of the disputed adjudicated performances. The basis for this decision was an independent investigation by Twin Galaxies, supported by a series of detailed submissions, experiments, and analyses by Twin Galaxies and from the Twin Galaxies community, each with varying degrees of technical expertise and access to equipment. Recently, on behalf of Mr. Mitchell, Dr. Michael Zyda, an individual who holds a Bachelor of Arts in Computer and Information Science from University of California, San Diego, a Masters of Science in Computer and Information Science from the University of Massachusetts, Amherst, and a Doctorate of Science from the University of Washington School of Engineering, and who has been qualified as an expert by California and federal courts, concluded that the gameplay on these subject tapes could in fact depict play on original unmodified Donkey Kong arcade hardware if the hardware involved was malfunctioning, likely due to degradation of components. So basically, Billy paid a so-called expert to say it's possible that Billy's tapes show gameplay that looks like emulation because his hardware malfunctioned. I won't go over his entire statement here, but I will do an entire video on this guy soon, because his statement...
We'll be watching that next.
...things I've ever seen. for a quick recap, we know that Billy's records were done on emulation because of how the levels load. They look completely different between MAME and arcade. All of Billy's tapes show MAME loading screens for every level. The way the levels draw on each frame is very different, and Billy's tapes match MAME exactly.
I now wonder, like, suppose that edit had been done, that the records had been set on, like, one of the console ports. How different would that look from the arcade? Since I know at least back during, like, the 80s and 90s when, like, or at least the time when arcades and consoles were just, like, basically getting ports of arcade games that were, like, generally agreed to be inferior. Or, like, Donkey Kong was one example. Like, what did that look like? I'll have to do some research. Oops.
So we are talking about 9 hours of footage over 3 games, covering a span of 6 years, and they are all identical to MAME. This is just a proven fact at this point. And because Billy lied in order to hide the fact these scores were done on MAME, means that he almost certainly used save states and other banned tools in order to cheat. If you want a really good breakdown, I recommend a video by Veritas, who explains all of the technical reasons for the differences. It's easily the best video on Billy Mitchell ever made. It's 4 hours long, and you absolutely should watch it. I'll put a link in the description. But
I'll watch that later.
You know that Billy's tapes came from MAME and can prove it. According to Billy's expert, this Michael Zyder, Billy's tapes look like MAME because maybe the hardware malfunctioned. Now, he doesn't provide any evidence for this, he doesn't provide any explanation or mechanism, he just claims a malfunction can do this, and doesn't substantiate it whatsoever. His statement is extremely stupid. For example, he claims that maybe Billy's tapes look like MAME because when you copy a VHS tape, it can cause visual artifacts. Or maybe Billy didn't clean his VCR before he made his copies, so that's why they look like MAME. It's really that dumb. So Billy finds this idiot professor willing to say ridiculous things for money, and Twin Galaxies says, well, we think he cheated, but if you want to put your career on the line and say Billy didn't cheat, you can take all of the heat. Twin Galaxies continue in their statement. In fair consideration of the expert opinion provided by Dr. Zyder on behalf of Mr. Mitchell, and consistent with Twin Galaxies' dedication to the meticulous documentation and preservation of video game score history, Twin Galaxies shall heretofore reinstate all of Mr. Mitchell's scores as part of the official historical database on Twin Galaxies' website. A lot of people will read that and think that Twin Galaxies are reinstating Billy's scores, but that is not what's happening. What they have done is create an archive of the version of the Twin Galaxies the new owner Jace Hall bought in 2014, and are adding that onto the website as something you can view for historical purposes. It's basically like the Wayback Machine for Twin Galaxies, and you
That's
can
fair.
literally achieve the same effect by just using the Wayback Machine. It's a snapshot of what the database was like 10 years ago, including all of the known cheated scores, and including all of the fraudsters like Todd Rogers and Billy Mitchell that have been exposed since then. Billy is getting nothing of value here. His scores are not going back onto the official leaderboards, and he is still banned. Literally all he has is some professor saying that maybe, just maybe, his arcade machine malfunctioned 3 times over 6 years in a way that perfectly matches MAME. Twin Galaxies hasn't changed their opinion, which is why he is still banned. Twin Galaxies did not say their original statements weren't true, which is why his scores aren't being put back up to the current ranks. Twin Galaxies didn't want to go to trial, and they said, hey, if your expert wants to ruin his reputation...
You know, funny story about that, but as I mentioned, it's entirely... And if I'm not mistaken, they did, have been people who've surpassed Billy Mitchell's score. If you can't tell, I set the resources on this map to be insanely high. Well, because I wanted to see how big they could get, but also because, like... I do plan on using this map for, like, a rocket launch, and I want it to go, like, a huge base. But anyways, I found oil.
Things like maybe Billy didn't clean his VCR properly, so be it. Twin Galaxies acknowledges Billy's expert, but nowhere in their statement do they endorse or agree with his statements. This could not be the result Billy wanted, and I assume his lawyers basically forced him to settle. There is no way they didn't know Billy was a cheater by this point, and they really hated all of the negative press people like me were giving them. And this is one of the reasons I went so hard on Billy's lawyers. Obviously, Billy is insane, but his lawyers aren't. Putting innocent people through a lawsuit is categorically evil. It makes you a monster. It ruins people's lives. His lawyers were absolutely complicit in this, and that should never be forgotten. Initially, they would have been naive and didn't know the truth, but by the end, it was obvious they knew.
You know, I'm reminded of the whole business casual thing from like a year or two ago. Basically, where like this channel called Business Casual was bought by this guy called Alex Edson, and he tried to like claim a breach of copyright by this channel called Magnates Media, but everyone who looked at the video being in question said there was literally nothing there. Give me a second. Accidentally opened OBS, but okay.
Billy was a con man. Applying pressure to his lawyers was one way to try and make them want to settle as quickly as possible. There is one thing that Billy wins though, and that's the fact that Twin Galaxies is dropping their countersuit against him for fraud. So he definitely dodges a bullet there. Personally, I'm not sure how successful that would have been, and I feel as though it was just Twin Galaxies trying to throw a wrench into the works and dissuade Billy from continuing his own action. Perhaps this is why Billy accepted such a pathetic settlement, because he was truly afraid of the upcoming trial. You know what's really funny though, and this might give you an indication of how Twin Galaxies really feels. They recently launched a merch store, and when you go there, the first things you see are shirts and mugs showing the difference between arcade and MAME. These are hilarious. I assure you I am not sponsored by Twin Galaxies, but I really think you should go and show some support by buying a mug or a shirt. Twin Galaxies have been quietly fighting Billy Mitchell for 5 years. They never complained, they never asked anyone for anything, they went through hell standing up to a gigantic piece of shit on behalf of the gaming community, and I think they deserve some love. So please go and have a look at their store, the link will be in the description. Ultimately, I know everyone is going to be disappointed with this because we all really wanted to see Billy get destroyed in court. But it would have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars for Twin Galaxies. Money I don't think they even have. And the outcome would have been exactly the—
What? That's right. Do we have any of the Como? Yep. Yeah.
the same, with Billy remaining banned and his scores not going back up to the ranks. However, Billy is not out of the woods yet, because he still has this little thorn in his side, yours truly. Billy cannot escape his lawsuit against me, and when I say that, I mean he literally cannot escape. If Billy dropped his lawsuit against me, he would immediately lose, and would instantly owe me hundreds of thousands of dollars. So our lawsuit is going to trial, and hopefully that's going to be relatively soon. So if you are hoping for at least some fireworks, there will definitely be some juicy courtroom drama still to come for sure. Let me know what you think of this settlement in the comments.
Okay, well, let's do the one on Bill. Yeah, that is true.
Dr. Michael Zyda has been around for a long time. He has quite the storied history. It's obvious
Creep.
I just got a call from an attorney I'm working for, and she says that my last document has convinced the other side to settle. This case has been running since 2007, and there have been a large number of previous expert witnesses. My declaration is 1 page long. Nothing in this post is true. His statement didn't convince Twin Galaxies to settle. The case wasn't running since 2007. There weren't 20 expert witnesses, and his declaration isn't 1 page long. It's already obvious that Zyder shares at least one trait with Billy, a penchant for dishonesty. But if his statements were true, surely his declaration must be good, right? Well, let's take a look. Zyder's statement attempts to argue that Billy's tapes look like emulation because of some malfunction or other issue. I cannot stress enough that this statement has zero backing or evidence to support it. There is nothing of substance here. Zyder did no tests, no experiments, nothing. He's just making shit up and asserting it as fact. The entire thing has already been debunked extensively by Tanner Fokens, an electrical engineer and an expert in Donkey Kong. I will link his report in the description. And really, for most of this stuff, we don't
Well, I have
know
a missing bot.
ridiculous it is. Zyder makes this claim the converter Billy used changes the signal from 60 FPS to 30 FPS. However, the converter doesn't affect the frame rate whatsoever. Zyder doesn't even know what the converter does, and his entire point is flat out wrong because of this. The point B, he claims the component aging can cause issues, and maybe Billy's board was so old that it acted weird. Aside from the fact that it has never been demonstrated, and again is just being pulled from Zyder's arse, we still have the exact same board Billy used. Yes, literally the very same board Billy used to achieve his records years ago still exists and has been tested many times in the past several years. It's working perfectly fine. So this entire point is utterly insane, knowing that it can and has already been tested. For point C, Zyder claims that maybe when you copy a VHS tape, you can go from looking like this to looking like this, but only on that exact frame at that specific time, many times over the course of several hours. This is akin to saying that it's possible to walk through a wall if your atoms line up just in the right way. He claims that not cleaning your VCR or even recording on long play will lower the quality, and thus all of the transition screens will now mimic MAME. Zyder is a very smart man. If even we, the mere uneducated public, can look at this expert opinion and instantly realize that it's complete nonsense, obviously Zyder realizes this too, and yet he doesn't care. In fact, he is proud of his statements. He celebrates all of the publicity he is getting from it. Now, just from the simple fact he is so obviously willing to lie for money,
Mm-hmm.
you already believe Zyder to be a morally bankrupt man. But you have no idea how bad he really is. I wanted to know who Zyder was, so I went digging. Let's go all the way down the rabbit hole. Dr. Zyder is addicted to social media. On his Instagram account, he has almost 20,000 posts. His first post is July of 2016, so that works out to an average of 7 posts per day, every single day for the past 8 years. He has many Facebook accounts, but on his main one and his personal one, they are both the same, with many posts every single day and thousands upon thousands
Ooh.
upon thousands of photos. Most of the photos are of nothing in particular, but many of them are strange and creepy. Zyder will stand on the street at night and record people exercising through windows. He has uploaded many photos
What?
straight into the windows of his neighbors, and he will record and upload videos of desperate homeless people. It's really invasive and gross. But Twitter is where things got really weird. I first found this small account that appears to be Zyder trying to solicit sugar babies, offering to pay them $5,000 per week. However, this account only had a few followers, so I figured that maybe it was just someone else using his photos. I honestly didn't think anything of it. Then I found an account that was actually him. This is definitely Zyder. He states that he's a professor at USC. It links to his Instagram, which is linked from his website, and it's been around since 2009. It's legit. When you look at his likes, you'll see that Dr. Zyder is a thirsty boy. Pics for everyone who interacts. Titty pics to everyone he likes. He likes a bunch of weird diaper fetish posts, and then we get into
Oh God, that reminds me of this guy called the Cybersmith, who he's a lolcow, and well, I briefly followed him, but I had to unfollow him because of how much fetish stuff he just retweeted. Like, I could not handle it.
BDSM and hardcore porn. This is the kind of stuff that makes even me blush. Now, don't get me wrong,
Well,
there is absolutely nothing wrong with having a kink, but remember, this is Zyder on his work Twitter as a USC professor, liking tweets of guys getting pegged. It's extremely unprofessional. Then we get into the accounts he follows. Some of them are what you
I still find the fact that Ted Cruz got caught liking in step family porn funny. Yeah, but like, I actually agree that that's not something you should do on like your main account. Like, I don't consider it a problem that I follow some adult accounts, since like a good chunk of them are are technically other streamers. Like, for example, Sasha Grey used to make adult content, and I follow her, but I guess that doesn't really count since she doesn't make it currently. Like, it was really funny seeing her, of all people, react to this drama between Critical and Sneeko. Like, she actually visibly cringed when Sneeko's cuckoldry fetish was brought up. Like, if you end up... If you bring up, like the fact that you were in a cuckold situation and you manage to make someone who, in theory, should be very desensitized to that sort of thing visibly cringe, rethink your life. That is true. I don't... Ooh. Ooh. What? This does not look good on Billy Mitchell. Well, I didn't mean to finish the full thing, but hey, at least we did get to learn some stuff. Anyways, I'm gonna call it a stream now because, well, I'm trying to finish up this video I've got in the works. All I need to do is find some photos. Like, I actually would have probably finished it before the stream. Hell, I would have actually worked on it during the stream if my internet hadn't gone down, but alas. But anyways, thank you very much for tuning in. Tomorrow we're back to Tales of Symphonia, and on Friday I will be hopefully launching in a rocket in Factorio on the save file I'm currently on. So, anyways, thank you very much for tuning in. And I'm Andreas Rebel, and I'll see you next assignment. And later.